What is equality? I'm going to show a clip here in a little bit about just one example of males' inequality when it comes to their children. But first, I'm going to ask some questions and see what your take is on it. If a woman doesn't want a child, she has the right to abort that child. If a man doesn't want the child, he has no say in the abortion of that child or in saying that he doesn't want to financially support that child. But if a woman wants to keep the child, the man is obligated by force of losing his license, losing of employment, and is threatened not only with penalties but jail imprisonment. So, is this equality? I don't think so. If a man marries a woman, they have children, and then they get a divorce for whatever reasons, the man doesn't automatically get custody of his child, not unless it's consensual between the two. But the woman gets full custody of the child or children all the time. I very rarely does the man get custody of the child. Is this equality? For the reasons I stated before, the man, out of love or whatever, supports his children, but he has no say in what the actions or behavior of the mother does. Even though he takes her to court and shows causation of her behavior that's damaging to his children, because he has to work all the time and he only gets what, 2 weekends per month to visit his children, and a lot of times the woman, for whatever reason, is vindictive against him and doesn't let him see his children or some other bullshit reason.
Hey, good evening, everyone, and thank you for staying up with us. Well, we begin tonight with the shocking and disturbing death of a baby in Richland that has got our community shaken, and we do want to warn you, elements of this story are very graphic.
The story is not just disturbing because a little girl is now dead, but also because doctors found severe trauma to her vagina. Francis Watson spoke exclusively to the baby's father in tonight's Big Story.
James Reedy can't believe his baby girl is gone.
She was very bright. And I'm not just meaning intelligence. It was her smile, her innocence.
9-month-old Serenity was his fourth child with his estranged wife, Jennifer. Serenity's mom had full custody, and James says it made him nervous that she allowed men he didn't know around their little girl.
To have the marriage dissolve like it did, and then something like this happened, especially with another male counterpart, that's the part that hurts the most.
Still, James is shocked at the circumstances surrounding his little girl's death. Court papers say the baby suffered severe trauma to her vagina. Police wouldn't call it rape since that's a legal charge, but a doctor who examined the baby's body found massive damage to her genital region. She also had skull fractures. Serenity's mom found her baby dead in her crib on Friday morning. She also couldn't find her boyfriend, 36-year-old Jose Aguilar. He was missing along with her car and all the money in her purse. Jennifer got Aguilar on the phone at one point. He told her he was in Oregon. Court papers say Aguilar also spoke to a Richland officer and told her that the baby had fallen off a couch. Police say the injuries to the baby didn't match that story.
He said that he knew Serenity had died, and he said he was currently in Oregon but was en route back to the Tri-Cities.
It appears that Mr. Aguilar was on a way to flee to Mexico, and that if we didn't get the charges filed on Saturday night, he would not be kept in custody in Barstow.
The phone call allowed officers to trace Aguilar to a Greyhound bus in Southern California. Officers quickly moved in and arrested him. He was charged with manslaughter. Prosecutor Andy Miller says that could change as the investigation continues. Aguilar is being held on $1 million bail and due in a California court on Tuesday. Bringing him back to Benton County will be decided then. But that won't bring back James's little girl.
I want justice. I think if somebody has the capability to do something like that to a 9-month-old baby, then the penalty should be swift, and it should be very, very stern.
Francis Watson, Action News.
Well, to get all sides of this story, we tried speaking to the baby's mother, Jennifer Reedy, and she was not at the home she shared with Aguilar in a Richland trailer park off Stevens Drive. To read the court papers on this story, you can find them on our website, KeeperTV.com, and like other elements of this story, we do want to warn you, they are very graphic.
I find it ironic and intellectually dishonest that this is any kind of equality. A man has no say of another man living with his ex-wife, who is lordship over his children, and he has to pay this money out for some guy to sit on his couch and screw his ex-wife and abuse his children. He has no right. He has no right to say anything about that. I find that ironic. Now, we could flip the tables, and I would totally agree that both parents who love their children should have equal say in their child's upbringing. But it seems that in a divorce or anything else, a man has no right to say or do anything with their own children. He can't protect his children from a person who's living with his wife, ex-wife, or protect his children from a predator because the woman doesn't really care about her children. We see examples of this happening all the time, that a woman will let another man live with them rent-free, and the man, who usually is a predator who looks for single women with children, it doesn't matter what culture or race you are or whatever, they find these women and they prey upon these women, and a lot of times in a few minority women that don't really care about their kids. They just want a check. They see them as a check from the state, from the ex-husbands, whatever, and they think they're entitled to money for these kids they brought into this world. I see de-evolution of society. You go into any place on this earth, any tribe, any culture, anywhere that has no value of money, you'll see a successful family unit. Except what we call a democratic society, things are totally different. I don't know how to word this anymore. I see a total flip-flop of common sense. I see a total ignorance everywhere. This is why I believe in doing away with money, all forms of currency whatsoever. It's the root of ignorance. People say, atheists say there's no God and so forth, and that's fine. I accept their perception. It's their perception, that's it. But the logic of crime statistically and problems with children usually stem from single families. One parent trying to raise one child by themselves. Most of these kids that go into school systems nowadays can't even read or write. They don't even know the basic alphabet. You tell me, if you're getting a paycheck and you're not working for that paycheck and you're sitting on the couch watching Oprah or whatever, that's more important than teaching your kid ABCs. It's not your job to teach them. That's the teacher's job. That's wrong. No one in this world would ever not. I don't know how to put it. I'm frustrated right now. I can't believe our society has reached this pinnacle of ignorance. As an Aramaic Christian, we believe that our body is the temple of God. What we let into that temple represents our free will. We should expand our minds by reading, learning, doing things. Our bodies should be physically fit and eat good, wholesome food. Now, nutrition is a big part of the learning curve in behavioral problems in children, if you accept it or not. You put junk into a child, you get junk out of a child. You feed him nothing but sugar foods and processed foods and so forth, you're gonna get what you put into it. If you feed your child hate against the father of this child, he's gonna grow up hating not just his father, but you, because you lump them all together. All he sees is hate. All he sees is ignorance, and you keep them dumb. You gotta. Then you feed these children with that they're nothing unless they have something. What is something? Something, the three basic things for life is shelter, food, and security. Those are the three key things of existing as a human being. Love is the key. But I see rap videos that is a cry for help. I see that as a cry for help. This is their image of what they see and know. That's what a rap video is. It's about their environment. That is nothing more than violence, ignorance, treating women, their daughters, their sisters, their mothers as hoes. Is this what you want for your children? Even in white society, I see this happening in racial group there is. The degradation of a family unit that started in the 60s. The hippies broke the family unit, and it's all based on communism. It really is. The thing that united black and white and everyone around the world was that he's a good father. She's a good mother. They have children. Now you're going to bring up KKK? Fine, bring up KKK. The Ku Klux Klan hung at almost the exact same number of white people that they did black people, because people stood up for those black people. And if you stand up for something, you're going to get hung on it right along with them. Ignorance, my friends, ignorance. If someone stands up and says, you're doing it wrong, you blame them for the problem. You say that is wrong to say anything about anyone. Who are you to tell me how to raise my child? I'm not telling you how to raise your child. I'm showing you there's a better way to raise your child. Education is a key factor, yes. Don't feed your child hate. Hate only My grandfather once told me a story, and it's an old story. I think it comes from the Cherokees and that, but he said it was the best story that he ever heard, and he told it to me. I'm gonna paraphrase it and summarize it for you here. And he said, in every person there's two wolves, one of hate, one of love, and they're constantly at battle in every man. Which one wins? The reply is to this is the one you feed the most. If you keep feeding hate, you'll get nothing but hate all the time, every time. So what are you going to feed your child? You're going to feed him some love, some bacon and eggs in the morning. You're going to stop seeing other men, bringing men to your house and showing your child what kind of woman you are? From my own experience, if everyone wants to know, my mother was a single mother. I never knew my father till I was about 17. Then when I met him for the first time, he told me not to come around because he was going through a divorce now. So I didn't meet my little sisters until I was 25. I remember my mom bringing men home all the time. She was the loose. She pretended to be a religious person, but what she said in public isn't what she did in private. There are pretenders out there. You can't pretend to be something that you're not. Either you are a good mother and a good father, or you're not. There's no in between. What makes a good man? What makes a woman? Responsibility. For taking responsibility for your actions that you took. That's all I got to say for now. Love you, and keep it real.